Gentlemen, the time has come once again to discuss things.
You were.
I just want to go ahead and get started.
Yeah, let's go for it.
Alright, hi everyone. Welcome to another episode of Geeky Gentlemen. I'm Sid Part 2. Joining me today is...
Hey, what's up? Oh my god. I'm that kid.
Immediately the
Fucking-
problems start.
This is, god damn it. Fucking United Kingdom ass motherfucker.
Just like the British to overshadow the American people's voice.
Yeah.
How dare you?
And then there he goes, talking over the Indian guy. This is terrible.
Honestly,
Terrible.
honestly.
Yeah.
You colonize me first, you motherfucker.
Yeah.
It's so easy. You gotta fuck a half an egg.
To be fair, we didn't have a lot of defenses.
Damn. Damn, I didn't expect Steve to be a natural ally. Oh, terrible. Native ally, that's the term. Damn, terrible. I hate to see it. Anyway, so we're here today to start off holiday month because it's the month in which Steve Baxi makes me do it because he likes holiday films and then bails on a bunch of them.
I haven't done that in a couple of years.
In a couple, yeah, that's fair. I still make fun of you for doing it because, like, you were all, no, we need to do a holiday month. And I'm not doing Geeky Gentleman. I'm like, okay, fine, we'll do a holiday month. I'm not coming. So,
Oh no, don't worry. We are bringing our A game for holiday month this year.
yeah. So we started off because I wanted to be all controversial since it was my pick, and I'm the Scrooge of the bunch, or the Grinch, you might say.
We can't.
And
do
I'd
it
kinda
equal
like-
license.
Yeah, we can't.
You're the Finch.
Yeah. So I wanted to pick something kind of, more obscure and like the tradition of a Christmas horror movie is always fun. And I always love the inversions of what you can get away with in something like this. And so I was like, oh, well, is there any good ones? And then I remembered hearing about this after I saw it in my list of what I was looking up. And I was like, oh yeah, that's right. They did make a Grinch horror movie. That's probably not going to be very good, but fuck it, it's the Grinch. It's another Grinch thing to talk about. I think at this point we'll have done an episode of Geeky Gentleman on every adaptation of the Grinch. So here we are for The Mean One, film from 2022. It's kind of an interesting backstory. It started off as a short film, like faux trailer on YouTube, and so many people responded like, so when's the movie coming out? And they were like, at first, well, no, it was just this, it was just a gag. And then they're like, well, shit, maybe we should actually go make this fucking movie. So they put this thing together in a year, which is pretty damned impressive, and got a theatrical release by Christmas of the next year. The original short film came out in 2021 on their YouTube channel, which I cannot find. And then by Christmas of 2022, they had this out in theaters. So quite the rushed production, but I don't know. It was an interesting watch. What did you guys think of The Mean One? Let's start with Alfie, since he's been the ghost of Christmas Past for a while now.
I'll be the ghost, and I'll be the Grinch immediately. This was terrible. This was really fucking bad.
No segue at all. No sugarcoating it. He's just like, this is terrible.
I've just gotta rip the band, because look, I watch Blood and Honey, right? Like, I've seen these attempts at beloved children's classic becomes horror. Like, I've seen the Steamboat Willie horror stuff. Like, I know what the deal here is, right? And I've watched a lot more schlocky horror movies in my life over the last few years than I ever would have thought I would. So I've become a bit more of an aficionado at this point. And like the concept I will give is actually, I think, of one of the better ones of all of these. I think you actually can see an easy through line of like, hey, if a couple things went bad and we want it to be edgy, maybe he just loses his shit, starts killing people. Like, like that's not that far of a leap compared to a lot of the other like childhood like icon ones. My issue is just that's a funny like beat that you can make like a funny trailer out of, but then if you want to make like a movie out of it, it's just like you've got to give me something else. You've got to give me either some creative kills, some funny jokes, some interesting like character work, some any attempt at like cinematic filmmaking. It's just like this thing just had none of it. This was an incredibly boring watch. It didn't give me even like the base horror checkbox of like, oh, this kill was creative, or oh, this moment kind of had like a jump scare. It just felt like it was killing time until we got to the next moment with the Grinch, and then when he was there, I couldn't see shit because the camera wouldn't stop moving. So that's my initial take.
Damn. All right.
Hot
How about
damn.
you, Steve?
Yeah, man, this fucking sucks. This one's
No.
really bad. If we're not gonna try and sugarcoat it now, this is fucking terrible. Blood and Honey is an appropriate comparison. And I mentioned this when I wrote about it on Blue Sky the other day. The thing about Blood and Honey is that Winnie the Pooh entered the public domain, so they immediately made a horror movie that is Winnie the Pooh. They got to use the names, they got to use the characters, they got to give them their own twisted backstory, and that's a good chunk of the appeal. And as bad as far as schlocky horror movies go, it's bad, but like I've seen worse. When you can't even call him the Grinch, when you're not even doing it, what's the appeal? And the guy who plays the Grinch, he's actually Art the Clown in the Terrifier movies, and he's a good pantomime actor. I like him. But like Alfie said, the camera's always fucking shaking. You barely ever get to see his face. You can't make out any of the quirkiness. He's clearly more inspired by the Jim Carrey Grinch because they're trying to capitalize off this idea of, oh, he was terrifying in that movie. But that falls flat when he never says a fucking word and he's just growling all the time, and you can never see him do anything. And as far as like the filmmaking goes, you said that it was impressive that they were able to put this whole thing together in the span of a year. Nah, bro, I could tell. I could absolutely tell. Dude, there are so many shots in this movie where the continuity is just fucked. Like when she's going through her little training montage where she'll pull the gun out of the holster and then bring it up as two separate shots, and the connecting one where you get to see the gun down the sights looks nothing like the one where she pulled it out of the holster. It's so bad, man. This is such a bad movie.
Alrighty. Hey, Matt, do you hate this movie too?
Call me Benedict Arnold because I'm siding with the British on this one. This movie fucking sucks ass, and I hated it. And there were multiple times in this film where I was like, I'm pretty sure I shot more compelling looking things in college when I was taking film classes. This sucks, and I have to echo what Steve said about David Howard Thornton, the guy playing the mean one in this, because he is utterly delightful in the Terrifier films as far as his presence, and yet this film spends so little of its time deciding to highlight that or give him anything to do. And since all the points I was going to make have already been made, I will make one very quick point. This bitch spends the time, resources, and money required to customize several guns to make them all candy cane themed, but when she plugs in her fucking lights as her big final trap for the mean one, the lights on her house are the most unimpressive shit. I have seen better lights in my fucking neighborhood. This movie is like, I've seen so much schlock horror. Like, I've seen The Mousetrap and Blood and Honey, and this is like many degrees worse than all of them. and
Agreed.
I want my hour and a half back. And I feel like I will have fun talking about it, but I did not have fun watching it.
Okay, so here I am. All right, let me just pull out the sword as the horde charges toward me, because I know I'm gonna be on this fucking side of the. I actually quite liked it. I had a good time with this one. Is it a good movie? Nah, I don't think it's trying to be a good movie. I had fun with it, and I think that's what they honestly wanted. Maybe laughing at it more than they necessarily wanted me to. One or two of the jump scares actually got me, so there's something to that. The Art the Clown actor playing the mean one in here, I do agree that he doesn't get much to do, but when he's doing stuff, I'm actually slightly impressed by how well he captures Jim Carrey's performance, which sounds like a bit of a backhanded compliment, but I think it's actually kind of hard to do, and he does a surprisingly good job with like the physicality of recapturing some of those elements. A lot of the things like are almost pulled directly from as far as expressions and like physical pantomime. Um, the gags did work for me. The fact that it all comes down to her forgiving the mean one and his heart growing 3 sizes and then exploding just fucking got me. I'm sorry. I didn't see that coming. I thought she'd shoot him in the heart. I thought they'd do like something with the heart, or like she'd, shove a grenade down his mouth or something. I don't know. I did not expect his heart to literally explode inside his chest after his redemption moment, and that to be the thing that kills him. That did get a chuckle out of me. I also liked the gag at the end after the credits of the holiday streamer opening her box from that scene that really went nowhere, but just kind of seemed wild. So I don't know. Is it a good movie? No, but I had fun with it, and I am still actually legitimately impressed they managed to get a movie from not even a script to theaters in a year. I don't care what anyone says. That shit's impressive.
I mean, they clearly never wrote the script, so that kind of cuts down on a lot of your production time. So
You have to write any dialogue for the Grinch. That saves some time.
yeah, there you go. No, I mean, so here's the thing, right? Like everyone said before, we love schlocky horror. We love a bad horror movie. We love spending time on horror movies that you're supposed to laugh at in equal measure as laughing to. So I don't have any issue with that. I think that there's a lot to mine in this idea of the Grinch horror movie because of that zeitgeist of Jim Carrey's Grinch just being so horrific. That's all fine with me. But I feel like the way this movie is made, everything about it feels so amateur hour that it's not even endearing. Like, this is the problem with the Blood and Honey sequel, right? You see the first Blood and Honey movie, and it's clearly trying to capitalize on the Winnie the Pooh stuff. But it's doing it in such an over-the-top way, and the basic filmmaking conventions are still, like, just barely being followed enough that you can kind of enjoy its edgy badness. By the time you get to the sequel, though, they've gotten so far down this rabbit hole of trying to make it as edgy as possible that it overshadows any charm that it can have. With this, because you're not even really using the Grinch, a lot of that charm is immediately gone. And because the people involved are not even able to, like, scene to scene, dialogue to dialogue, give you anything worth hanging your hat on or watching, it just kind of feels grating. Because, like, even in a bad movie with bad effects, if you can just, like, on a basic level get some of the editing down right, you can have a lot of fun. But this was not it. This is choppy as hell. This is horrendous to look at. There's so much bad dialogue delivery that I think the movie legitimately thinks is clever, and it's just grating. There's a scene like 2/3 of the way through where the mayor has that confrontation in the woods, and we realize that, like, she's behind this weird scheme to send campers up the mountain to be eaten by the mean one for whatever dumb reason. And when I'm watching that scene and I'm hearing the mayor's dialogue, or the mayor elect or whatever, it sounds like stuff that they think they're proud of when they wrote that, and all of it is just ass. I wish I had wrote down her exact lines, because they're so they sound so self-congratulatory, like they're trying to be clever, and it's just not clever.
I do love the mayor character though. She's like my
Yeah,
favorite
I like
character
that she's
in
always
the whole
sticking buttons
movie.
on things.
Yeah, it's so good. I mean, the movie is not without its bits that I think are funny or cute or charming, like in a vacuum, like his heart growing and that killing him immediately, or the mayor character. I just think it's the sum of all of these things. Like Steve mentioned, it being so amateur hour that I wish that those moments were not bogged down by all this stuff around it that is not, to me, even really entertaining. Like, at least Blood and Honey was able to give me just some of the most gratuitously violent kills in one of these like lame IP slashers. Whereas this, like, it's so choppily edited and the budget is so shoestring, and what budget there was went entirely to that costume, that none of the kills are even that good.
I would agree with that. I think the biggest thing I will say against it is the kills are excessively uncreative.
Yeah, and like I'm very easy when it comes to horror movies. You give me some like creative kills, you give me some over the top schlockiness, give me some titties, and I'm happy. I'm here for it. This gave me none of those. None of that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, again, I'm not gonna try to like defend it as the perfect movie or whatever. I guess I was going into it kind of expecting it to be like Blood and Honey, which I watched and we did an episode on, and like we all hated. It was like we just spent the whole time talking about. It's not that it's bad because it's, you know, taking beloved character and doing horror. It's bad because it like doesn't understand or communicate anything about who that character actually is to make it feel like a parody. Whereas this, I think, just worked for me because to some level, he's still doing Grinch-like stuff. The fact that like putting up any kind of Christmas decorations just draws him out, and he just murders the shit out of people and then steals the decorations as he leaves, I think is like fundamentally it is getting to the heart of what makes the Grinch, and then turning that up to 11 in a horror context. That being said, yeah, it would be better if the kills were more creative, like either similar to Steve Die Hard, but it's Santa Claus. What was the
Violent Night?
Yeah, similar to how like Violent Night did like really creative. If Santa Claus had to go on a killing spree, what would that look like? Or you know, your like Home Alone parody within that movie. You know, like taking those kind of elements, doing something more like that with the Grinch, kind of looking at the stuff that he did in the Jim Carrey movie, just being outlandish and disgusting. Like, what was it? He makes the mayor kiss the dog's ass. So like finding a way to make that into a kill, I think could maybe be interesting. As opposed to just like slamming the mayor's head in a trunk. That element of it was disappointing. But I did like his targets of kills, for what it's worth. Like the idea of taking the SantaCon drunks and just doing a killing spree in a restaurant with them, I thought that was pretty fun, and that's probably where he probably where he gets to do the most like physical action and emulation of Jim Carrey, like especially the creepy fingers and stuff. And then there's also the mistletoe scene with the one cop was really fucking funny. Just keeps making the kissy faces at him. Like doing a mistletoe based kill would be pretty funny. If he had managed to seal the deal on that one, but unfortunately you don't get that stuff. So again, I'm not gonna sit here and pretend it's perfect, but there are like elements. Since you guys keep bringing up Blood and Honey, I do think that this works better than Blood and Honey for the simple fact that it is more closely emulating the source material as a parody, as opposed to just making a generic horror movie and throwing the Grinch in it.
I think you raise a good point there, Ian, because I do agree with you that if you're talking about like character representation, this definitely has it in terms of the Grinch acts more like the Grinch than Winnie the Pooh acts like Winnie the Pooh in that. I do think they both suffer from the same issue, and I think it's almost made a little worse in this because it does that aspect a little better of it feels like it wants to have the like we open with like, oh, this is like an alt timeline, like this is what could have happened if something went wrong, right? And then we have like moments of camp, but then it's like weirdly played like straight and boring, like almost like it's a realistic interpretation of the material when he's like, oh, he needs to feed and he's like a creature in a cave and he's like and it's like it feels like it knows the appeal of the Grinch is that campy theatrical aspect, but then no other part of the movie wants to do that until you get to like the final fight where they're doing like puns and like they've got like the shotgun is wrapped in like Christmas wrapping paper and stuff like that. Like all of that.
I don't know
Again,
if I
in a
agree with that, but okay.
it felt like it was too. It didn't really want to feel like it was part of the bit. It didn't feel like because we have like that thing with like the Doctor Zeus, right? Like
Yeah,
we have
that's
we have
my
that.
argument is like that you were saying all that stuff, and I was about to say, well, like the Doctor Zeus thing kind of goes into that thing when the Jewish cop is trying to lure out the Grinch and he doesn't know any Christmas carols. That was just like, who the fuck doesn't know a Christmas carol? It just like by osmosis, you have to have picked one up. Is just like a funny like campy gag to me.
It's just it's
Um,
not. It is right when you say it like that, but even when you said it, you said that funnier than the actual
Right.
movie executed. it.
Right.
Like that's kind of my issue. Is like these are things that when you describe them, it's like, oh, that sounds like a good time, and then you watch it, and it's like really boring, and it's like the most dull way of getting that across you can. I also want to take a moment just because we'd have to spend a lot of time with it. I just want to acknowledge it because you kind of brought it up, Ian. Why the fuck do they spend so much time emphasizing how Jewish that guy is? That was really, really
It
uncomfortable.
was kind of uncomfortable.
Was it all set up for that gag? That like
had to have
he's
been.
so Jewish that he doesn't know any Christmas.
Because when
He
that shit
just-
dropped, I looked over to Erin and she's just with her mouth on the floor, like, oh my god. I was just like, was this funded by like a fucking Nazi group or something? 'Cause that shit was insane how much and every time we were like, alright, there's just that one bit. And he's like, oh well, it's because I've got that Jewish blood. I was like, what the fuck?
No, absolutely. I mean, piggybacking off that and to your larger point, I think the biggest problem with this for me is like it's so non-committal to any of the Grinch stuff, probably because it can't legally get away with it. But that's kind of the whole problem in a nutshell. Is if you can't
I'd agree
legally
with
get
that.
away with it, don't do it, right? So, like Alfie, you mentioned at the beginning, it presents itself as this alternate timeline where the Grinch is dressed as Santa Claus, and he's at the Christmas tree, and Cindy Lou Who shows up and shows him like an act of kindness, and that grows his heart 3 sizes, yada yada yada. And then they video edit, and they're like, "Oh, actually, what if the mom walked in at this moment and branded him a monster or whatever?" But like, here's the thing: the Grinch's thing might be dressing up as Santa Claus and stealing Halloween decorations, but that's such a like surface level read to make an entire movie out of that just doesn't warrant anything more than a couple gags. Like if you're not going to do the whole he actively dislikes Christmas, that he's going through the town stealing all the decorations, not just the town has none for fear of him showing up. And if you're not going to like if the whole town from the beginning is going to be in on this bit where there can be no Christmas here, then it feels like we've almost started the movie at the wrong point. Like, I want to see the version of this where everyone in this town loves Christmas, and then the Grinch shows up and just murders everybody in the house. And then one by one, the town realizes, you know what? Maybe we don't need Christmas anymore. I feel like if you're not going to have the Grinch go through a setting where he steals Christmas decorations, and you're just going to skip ahead to the bit where he's dressed as Santa Claus for some reason and just killing the people who show up in Christmas dress, you've kind of lost the appeal for me a little bit. And they spend so much time trying to like both remind you of the fact that this is the Grinch while trying to make sure you understand that this is legally distinct, that it moves away from being funny and just kind of becomes annoying. Like when they're at the bar and that bartender
Finch!
twice
Finch!
just like yells Finch. Yeah, like she does that. Like there's a couple other moments like that where I'm like, okay, I get it. you can't call him the Grinch for legal reasons. But then why the hell are we doing this?
I don't know. I think it's funnier to at least try it and get away with it than waiting, another 40 years for the copyright to expire, what the fuck ever. Again, I just have like a bit of an admiration for the effort, because I ended up watching, they produced a little documentary of the making of this, and I watched through that. It was about 45 minutes, so I'm more committed to this than any of you, so thus making my opinion the right one.
I can't argue with that.
Yeah. Well, like, just seeing it go from like a YouTube video thing, and they do like other kind of similar things. They did like a Powerpuff Girls parody that treats it like a serious action superhero kind of movie, Marvel MCU kind of thing. Seeing that, just the level of commitment and the drive of like, no, if we don't do this now, somebody else will. Someone will see our success, and they'll capitalize off of it, and we'll have lost our moment. So we're just gonna do as much as we can. Because as much as I admire that, right, I do still have even problems with that drive, because I think the biggest thing that, like, all of your guys' complaints, I'm like, well, no, I disagree with that, or no, I don't think so, or I didn't feel that way. My biggest complaint, no one else has brought up here, and that's the fact that it takes place around Christmas, and there's, like, green plants on the trees, and green leaves on the trees and plants in the mountains. It should all be snow, and the reason it's not is because they're filming in like fucking June or July in like a 2-week span. So they just threw some fake snow on the ground, and I guess global warming is the reason. Like, the lack of like Christmassiness of like the atmosphere, like it helps them, and they probably wrote it this way for the sake of not having to have people's decorations up. The reason that no one has decorations is probably because they're filming in the middle of fucking summer and no one has their Christmas decorations up. So they write that into the script and write the script around that limitation. And that's a problem, but to a degree, I kind of respect the ingenuity and just the drive to get it done, even if what you're producing isn't like great.
Look, man, all I'll say to that is John Carpenter made Halloween on less than $1 million. It was not fall. They had a bag of leaves and one pumpkin, and it's the quintessential fall movie. I can admire the fact that you're writing around your limitations. You know what the secret to it, though, is? You gotta be good at it.
Go ahead, Matt.
No, I was just gonna say that on a fundamental level, having made like student films and stuff like that, I totally understand and respect where Ian's coming from on this, because to take like essentially an elaborate shit post and then turn it into a full movie, not only to do that but to do it very quickly, is certainly,
and get it released in theaters.
Like, that is a feat. That is an accomplishment in and of itself. That does not mean the thing you made was good. And while we're wishing for versions of this movie that we didn't get, where's the version of this movie where the Grinch just is the main character and he's like killing, and he like we follow him, and we've got the narrator giving us his internal monologue, and he kills obnoxious people who start decorating for Christmas way too early. He kills Steve, basically.
Yeah, there you go.
Where's that,
baby?
Yeah, where's the movie where we're following the Grinch as he kills the kind of Christmas obnoxious people none of us like, and then he meets the person who actually is really down for the reason of the season that changes his mind. But no, I mean, I get what you're saying. Like, I feel like the effort to turn something like this around so quickly and to just make it is commendable, but at the end of the day, I'm just not clicking with anything here, and I feel like the emphasis is in the wrong places. And I feel like a compelling movie with this premise exists. I just don't think it's this one.
I mean, that's fair. Again, I'm not going to sit here and defend it as perfect or anything. I think it's got a host of flaws that we've discussed on and off at this point. But for me, I just was like, I watched it without knowing any of that, just thinking it would be like Blood and Honey, and I wasn't expecting to like it. I wasn't expecting it to be good. It looked kind of. I initially it got some points for me when the Grinch actually showed up, because legit when they did like the flashback and she like talks about, or they show like the little green ski mask, and then you start seeing the guy that will be revealed to be Dr. Zeus around town following them. I'm like, I swear to fucking God, if they do not commit to the concept and they just have, oh, it's just her imagination and it's really this guy, just a normal dude, I'm gonna fucking rage against this movie. But then, like, she sees him in the mountains and you get, like, a good close-up shot of that's the fucking Grinch. Like, and it's actually really good makeup.
Yes, I'll give it that.
I'm a little like 50-50 on how well it's shot. I don't think I had so much problem with the camera shake. I agree more with the point about the lighting being really dark, but that's also just I've also allegedly seen AVPR, so dark and horror movie to hide your like to try to make your effects look better. I don't know. There's a margin here, and it doesn't go that far to me. Um, so I don't know. I legitimately was impressed, and I just like that they committed to the bit. They have committed harder, yes, and would that have made it a better movie? Yes, but that's just not the movie we got. So I'm less interested in the what ifs of it and more interested in just the end product. And then again, seeing that they made a whole documentary about the making of, and just finding out about all the passion and the rush to get it done, and just the drive, I guess, endeared the movie to me even a little bit more. So like, I started out expecting, I just hope it's not as bad as Blood and Honey, and then seeing that they again got at least the core notion of the character right, and from what I could tell did the best of their ability, I came away admiring it a little bit more for that. But those aren't things connected to the movie itself. So if you don't know all of, like, the ins and outs, and you haven't seen these people talk about it, and kind of the passion project it turned into, just judging the movie on itself, yeah, admittedly, there's like tons of flaws with it, but I don't know. I struggle to think about another horror schlockfest, like cash grab like this, quote unquote parody schlockfest, that I've enjoyed more.
It is
'Cause
it's better than the Mousetrap, which is the like Mickey Mouse Steamboat Willie one, where they're like trapped in like a Dave and Buster's overnight. I couldn't even finish that fucker. So it is
Yeah.
definitely better than that. I just think like
is
okay.
I'm sorry, like, would you rank Blood and Honey above it or nah?
Yeah. I mean,
Oh.
like, for the simple fact that, like, Blood and Honey is not a good movie, but when it comes to just the nuts and bolts of filmmaking, when it comes to competently shot horror with kills that are memorable, with the things, the sort of surface level things that I'm here for, because with these movies, that's really all you get is those surface level things, and does it hit those? And I think Blood and Honey hits those better, regardless of the fact that this understands the character a little bit more than Blood and Honey understands the Winnie the Pooh source material. Because I'm with you on that. I think you're correct. But when it comes to, but which one of these is more entertaining to watch, and which one of these provides the like visceral horror satisfaction, it's going to be Blood and Honey, because it's just a more competently shot and put together thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you on Blood and Honey. I mean, as far as like a horror movie, like, I mean, I think the game has changed so drastically in low budget movie making in the last 10 15 years that it does sort of feel like this is from a bygone era of like the early 2000s, when you'd see more stuff like this. When something like The Terrifier could be made on like $30,000 and be the biggest currently existing horror franchise, coming off of like an independent anthology movie, All Hallows Eve, which is also made on a shoestring budget.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there is a lot of schlocky horror now. There's a lot of schlocky horror that's made by people that are legitimately pretty good filmmakers, even if the final product isn't great. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of the Terrifier movies, but I think the biggest problem in for that argument is when the bar is so much higher, this does sort of feel like it's a step behind all of those. The Peter Pan horror movie that came out recently, I think it's on Peacock now, in the same vein as Blood and Honey. Um, there's Mousetrap, but there's also like, what's it called, Steamboat or something. That's another Mickey Mouse horror movie like that. We've done a lot of these, and I feel like by and large, I've enjoyed every one I've watched more than this one so far, in part because it just seems like the other movies have like a certain bare bones filmmaking aptitude that at least gets me to the door. Like I can ignore all of the problems for how bad those movies are, because at least they're able to get me invested in the world and enjoy the bad acting and enjoy the kills and enjoy the tits on screen, and I can appreciate that. With this, I feel like I feel like every scene is just so grating, and none of the kills are there or satisfying, and the movie sort of changes its pitch like 3 different times, and every single time I just find myself thinking, man, I wish I was just watching a different or a better horror movie. I just never got into this one. It's like a 90-minute movie. I was checking my watch like 5 times.
Fair enough. I cannot make you appreciate things, and you know what, Steve? I'll give you this. I'll give you this. This is the only time you're ever getting this from me. This is your Christmas gift. I expect you to return the Amazon one I sent you. Normally, Steve is just always wrong. This time, I don't think Steve is just wrong. I think that this might just come down to I'm wrong, but I don't care. I still enjoyed it.
Which is fine. I mean, you can enjoy it.
I'm glad someone did enjoy it, honestly.
Yeah, literally. Someone had to.
I saw the documentary thing they made, and they showed like a screening of it. They showed like footage from one of the screenings of it that they did at like a horror con or something, and you know, like they're cutting away to the audience. The gags were hitting the Finch, like they did a cutaway to the audience, and like it got a big laugh out of the audience and stuff. And again, not only did this get released in theaters, right? This got like it was supposed to have a limited release just so that it could be out before Christmas. It was supposed to have a limited release in like a couple theaters for like a weekend, and it got extended all throughout December, a little bit into January, and got picked up by like more and more theaters on its extended releases all across the country in 2022. So it was, if not enjoyed, it was very popular. So again, think about that. That's 2022. That's still like, you know, pretty like deep into pandemic things, so to get that kind of response for theaters, I think is kind of a big deal. So there was like them pushing to get it out really did seem to satisfy a desire that's out there, and from what I can tell, audiences seem to gel with it pretty well.
It's I don't know.
What it reminds me of is it reminds me of like the fan film reviews. Like a lot of what happens is this is very like fan film movie type movie making from the examples we watched and stuff. And I can be gracious to that to an extent, right? I do think its success is almost working against it at that point for me, though, Ian, where it's like once you've had it in theaters, it gets to a different standard where I feel like this is just kind of not acceptable to release this in theaters as the way it was. Where I'm like, it's just like, man, this is just not. And I look at other horror, because this was kind of the time period as well where like horror YouTube really blew up, and we're seeing more effects of that now. Where like there's been multiple YouTubers who have got like horror movies. I think like Chris Stuckman has had one that's coming out or has come out already, and there's like
Shelby Oaks.
There's like an A24 director who started making YouTube stuff. The director of Shazam got his gig by doing like horror YouTube shorts and stuff. And I've seen a bunch of these, and a lot of them have much higher understanding of filmmaking and what makes stuff scary, makes stuff compelling than this does. So when I see that this did get a big respect and it did kind of coast. I wonder how much of that is just purely on, oh, we're riding a name, but not really, and we're riding a train, which, smart business making. Like, I will say they probably got a decent check out of this, and they probably got their investment back quite a bit. So as like a knowing when to release something and jumping on a bandwagon, I'll give it credit for that. But if we're talking as like a piece of entertainment, then I don't have a lot of respect for it. Despite it coming from respectable roots, I feel like the effort that was put in just isn't there for me. Like, I don't look at this and necessarily, again, I haven't seen the behind the scenes thing, so maybe things there, but when I'm just watching guys at own, I don't feel passion here. I don't feel that people really were hyped or jazzed about making this movie.
I got a question just out of curiosity on that, kind of going off of that. What did you think of the way they were doing the shooting in the cave?
Which part? Because they go back into that cave a couple of times.
Just any of it. Just how did the filmmaking
I
work in the
like
cave?
I like the sequence, because it reminded me of the sequence when he's like firing off the bullets. You know that bit of the Dark Knight Rises.
Oh my god, yes.
It felt like the TV version of that, So like, there was like at least there was like an attempt on that one, right? I'll give you, but like the scene I'll do is like when they have that bit where he's trying to hide from the Grinch, and like he goes into the sheets, right? And like you do the bit where like, oh, you're fucking around and then something makes a noise. That's like normally a very tense filmmaking trope. And just how that was executed the whole time just felt so sloppy. It felt like everything was like out of timing. Like no one really was any form of tension when he's under that. We're not getting in any close-ups. Like I'll respect them for like the Dark Knight Rises. Like I said, there is an attempt with that stuff to play with the darkness. And I remember there's that bit as well where you're seeing from the sniper lens, and like he pops up there for like a jump scare and stuff. It's like, it's not like they didn't try at all. It's just really shittily done, and I feel like if you just applied yourself more with like another 2 months, you could have touched this up and not lost a lot of money as a result of that. Just again, it's like a fundamental of like, this doesn't look like a movie or one that's building tension. This looks like it's some kids fucking around on their iPhone, but not even like in an endearing way, because they all look like they're 40. So like it doesn't it doesn't buy me like that. So that was my kind of thing.
Well, like I just brought up the cave thing because I was quite impressed with this, at least personally, from the behind the scenes thing. I thought that they were just filming in like a fucking cave somewhere, or that they went to a studio for a set, and then I find out, like watching behind the scenes stuff, that they just like made the interior cave set in like the co-writer's house in his living room, and the way they shot it and the way that they framed everything there. I mean, again, it's a dark set, so it's kind of easier to hide your errors there and just kind of make it look good. But I don't know, that was just a moment where when I saw them just filming literally on the phone, talking about this is our set for the cave, I was like, holy shit, that's all just fucking packing paper in somebody's goddamn living room. That legitimately impressed me too.
I'll give them credit for that. That is a fair thing, right? Like I'm happy with that. They filmed stuff in the houses and right, and they did the Christmas decorations and stuff. They got access to bars and stuff. Like how they made use of the locations wasn't really an issue for me, and I would have never guessed that if you didn't tell me that. So I'll give my hat to them for that one.
Yeah, so that's kind of more what I'm talking about. I'm like, I disagree with the idea that you can't see any effort in here, because probably a lot of the things that that they've put effort into is just kind of going by more unnoticed because it worked as well as it did. Might be more of what just I'm seeing by getting to witness the behind the scenes stuff. So I'm quite glad I watched that, because normally I don't go for a lot of that stuff. So this was useful to prove Alfie is the one who's always wrong.
There you go. You got it. I mean, this is my fault for not doing it this time, because man, I was waiting for this bit to be over so I don't actually look it up for the first time ever.
I believe someone would spend 90 minutes on this and then voluntarily do another 45. But I mean,
Our gracious host is the man in question. A man braver than any of us.
no, I mean, I see what you're saying, Ian. Like I do, I get it. But here's the thing, right? When I'm watching movies, I don't care if the effect looks good or bad. I don't care if it's supposed to be December and it doesn't look like December. I don't care if the cave is paper mache and I can see the paper mache peeling off. Like, that doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is, can you convince me that the characters and the emotional experience I'm supposed to be having are worthwhile or fun to engage in? If you're making a shitty horror movie, if everything looks bad, that's fine. That can add to the vibe. Because if I'm enjoying the blood and the guts and the silly overacting and the fun concept, then it having bad effects and bad sets doesn't matter. The fact that they took the time to make a nice looking set but not engage me at all in any of the stuff happening with the characters or the horror element of it, that's the real fault for me at the end of the day. There's a lot of just like basic filmmaking stuff in this that bother me, because you see a shot and then every single shot around it that's supposed to help you send the geography, it's always just crossing eye lines and disorienting you and stuff like that. The reason that's a problem and the cave prop isn't is because those are the things that are getting me invested in the world. If the camera movements are good and the shot composition is manageable and the lighting is manageable, I can enter into that world with a suspension of disbelief that doesn't care what the set looks like. But if you're failing on all of those levels, then it doesn't matter how much effort you put into the Grinch's costume or the cave set, because I just don't care about what I'm watching at that point.
No, I mean, I think that's completely fair. Like, there's definitely movies where I've experienced that. And the funny thing, I guess, about it is, for me, that's more like the like great auteur films where I'm like, I don't care how unique or interesting this shot is. I just don't give a fuck about these characters or this world or this story. I can't follow any of this stuff. So the higher levels of filmmaking that are apparently lost on me just don't mean shit if I don't give a fuck about, I don't know, fucking what's the one everyone loves? What's his name from No Country for Old Men? Josh Brolin's character. Like, I just don't care. I don't. It's just not as good to me because I'm just not invested in the character. So I don't really give a shit about like some of the ideas of the movie or the way that it's filmed. If I just didn't relate to or identify with or give a fuck about the character, then you've lost me from the jump. So I definitely agree with you. It's just for some reason I tend to give like all the benefit to those efforts from like the humbler beginnings, I suppose. That stuff tends to impress me more, and I'll be more forgiving on story or character beats or whatever if it's like from a more humble beginning. But even then, again, I watched the film before I knew anything about it. And I think they just got me initially because, again, I wasn't really expecting them to stick as close to just the grinchiness, the grinchitude of the source material as they ended up doing. To have a fucking horror movie where you got a guy killing everybody, I was like, okay, and so obviously she's just gonna end up shooting him. And then to have that be, no, this does actually follow the idea of the Grinch. This gets the Grinch better than two of the adaptations of the Grinch, I would possibly argue. Certainly one of them.
I don't know about that. I really don't know about that.
I fucking hate the 2018 movie so much, you have no idea.
I mean, 2018 movie is fine, I guess, but like what I'll give it is like, man, it's a movie and it can be fun to watch.
Yeah, I don't know. So like just getting that and then having it, come to this moment of the Grinch being forgiven and stuff, and like his heart growing three sizes. Yeah. That for me, that was when I'm like, okay, actually this was pretty good. And so I was like, I'm sure they're gonna fucking hate it. Like I was mentally preparing myself, like, oh no, I actually like the movie. Like I didn't just think it was okay. I actually actively like the movie now. Oh no. I went through my little training montage. It was crazy. You should have seen me do those pull-ups. I got the girl's outfit and everything. It was crazy.
There's an interesting question. Like, did people actually find the Jim Carrey Grinch to be like scary? Like, is that where
Yes.
this comes from?
Yeah,
Because
that was
I
the
never
thing.
I never got that. I always just found him adorable and charming. So like, I don't. It was weird to me to even like think to make this, because I'm just like, but it's the Grinch. Like, what are we even doing here? Like that. But I guess it makes more sense than something like the Winnie the Pooh or Popeye the Slayer Man or whatever.
Yeah.
It does as a conceit. I can at least suppose I understand how they got to this place.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I genuinely like when they do stuff like this, just because fuck corporations, holding IP for generations after the original creator passes and stuff. Um, so I'm just kind of like whatever, just play around with the legal loopholes, get it done, and I'll watch someone get violently murdered every day. It's fine with me. So it's just fun in that regard. But yeah, no, the Grinch is Jim Carrey Grinch is one of the more like, I don't know about like horrifying, but like just there's elements of it that are a bit disturbing, and for it to just miss a good section of the point of the story always bothered me, and then for the 2018 film to like almost triple down on missing an important point of the story always really bothered, like a different one admittedly, but still always bothered the fuck out of me. So I don't know. To have this thing actually kind of sort of get the story arguably better than those two adaptations in different degrees, just worked for me. The Grinch is a very important story to me, so that's why.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
But like, okay, so maybe I'll be alone in this. Did anyone else actually find it extremely obnoxious whenever they made references to the Grinch without, by doing that nudge nudge wink wink, where they're like,
I
it's
hated it.
the town's called Newville, it's Cindy
yeah.
you know who, it's
I hated it.
Griffin. Every time they did that, I was like, I want to complain that it's low hanging fruit, but the whole movie is that, so it seems weird to complain about it. But like every single time they did something like that, or they did the Doc Zeus thing, I was just like, I hate that. I would rather they make I would rather they make a movie that doesn't have any of that in there at all. That you can tell what it is, but we're not making all of these nudge nudge wink wink references. Like that shit annoyed the fuck out of me every time, because it just drew attention to the most obnoxious things about this movie, instead of just letting the movie do what it's going to do. They keep pulling my attention to the fact that they are trying to skirt this, and then it suddenly becomes all about that and not just about telling a fun horror movie.
That's honestly a part of what I meant earlier when I was talking about how I feel like the writing sometimes is overly self-congratulatory for not doing anything, where like it keeps making these jokes about the fact that it's not really the Grinch, and they're not clever, they're not funny.
Yeah, they're not.
And they
they're
keep
exactly
making them. And they keep making those jokes, and I'm like, okay, I get it. This is not as funny as you think it is. You could have just opened with the Cindy you know who, and then moved on from there. That was my buy-in. I could have been here for this whole ride if you just said, we're getting all that shit out of the way up front. Now enjoy this story about this traumatized woman who gets murdered by the Grinch. That seems fine to me. But then you keep making the same joke over and over and over again, and it just gets grating.
Yeah,
it didn't really bother me, but it was the only time where I was just kind of like, all right, was when they repeated the Finch thing twice in the same scene. I'm just like, all right, man, like I'm trying my best right now, and you're just being really annoying about it. Past that point, it was fine. But like that part felt really like where the bit where you're kind of like trying not to be rude to someone when they're trying to make a joke, like yeah, that's funny, and then they just keep saying it louder. I'm like, all right.
No, you must not have heard me the first time. It was funny. You just weren't you weren't listening.
I'm like, can you fuck off?
I
But
will say maybe it would have been more fun to watch this as a group. Like maybe that would have been entertaining.
Well, that's what I was literally thinking. I was like, I am not having fun watching this, but I bet it'll be fun to talk about. And I feel
Yeah.
like that's exactly it. Like I feel like if I was watching this with a group of people where you can actively, I mean, I hate to say it, but just kind of make fun of it to each other, I feel like that would be yeah. And like I mean, I get where Ian's coming from as well, because to make any artistic work is an endeavor and a labor unto itself, but like I don't fucking care. You still made a bad movie, so I'm gonna make fun of it.
Fair. No, I actually don't have any problem with that. Like, I was not expecting much. I thought I like the Grinch, and it's Christmas character. I like the big controversial, tongue-in-cheek Halloween horror, or not Halloween, Christmas horror movie. That's just a fun, like, subgenre of horror for whatever reason that we keep doing. And so I'm like, all right, well, let's just see how it is. And I found myself, just as I was watching it, legitimately impressed and kind of fallen in love with parts of it. And then again, finding out more information about it as I went just made me kind of root for it maybe a little bit more, and just be like really happy for them and the success they had with it. So I don't know, I went in and it exceeded my expectations, because again, when they started setting it up, and I was like, I swear to God, if they don't commit and just have, like, she imagined it was a monster, but it's just this fucking guy, I'm gonna be so upset. I'm gonna be so fucking mad. You have no idea. Like, I take all three of your rages, combine them, and then you get to like a tenth of what my rage against this film would have been. So just the fact that they actually committed and have the monster, have the Grinch makeup and everything, and then it actually ends up looking good. Again, it just, I entered with really low expectations, and I kind of got more and more impressed and happier with the movie as it went along. It's so funny because I feel like I had the lowest expectations going into this, because I linked it in the chat, and Matt was like, "Oh, this looks like my shit," and Steve looked excited too. And now, I don't know how Alfie felt. Alfie was like, "This one," so he was like the most neutral. But I was like, "Oh man, maybe this will be a fun one. Maybe we're all gonna love it."
That's why.
Go ahead.
It sounds so defeated. Go ahead, God. Well, like I love schlock horror, and like one of my biggest issues is that it wasn't violent and schlocky enough. Like,
Right.
usually with these movies, they're like, all right, we're going to be as transgressive as possible. I don't mean to keep going back to Blood and Honey, but that's what made that funny, is that it's like, it's not a good movie, but we're gonna watch someone's like get their head run over by a car, and it's gonna be very visceral. It's gonna be very brutal.
Robin whipped by Eeyore's tail. Like, come on.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, it's so transgressive, and it's so visceral, and it's so brutal. And then you go into this, and the kills are really not anything. It's borderline PG-13 horror in some places. I actually don't even know what this movie's rated, but it didn't give me what I wanted out of it, and I guess that's not fair to the movie, but like that was kind of my expectation going in, and then to find something that is kind of extremely middling in regards to those kind of visceral, brutal horror staples, and not even getting that out of it, it's like, all right, then what am I watching this for? Other than this fucking podcast.
That was kind of the thing with, because when you posted it, Ian, I was like, oh, these kind of things are not normally my bag, but I'll ask Erin. She wants to watch this with me. It seems like because she's basically the same as you, Matt. She likes all the shocky horror, like tits and gore stuff. So it was like, oh, Grinch horror movie, this will be fun. So we're kind of excited. It's like, all right, whatever. It'll be a good time. So I put it on. I was just like, I mean, back to the first Jew joke. I'm like, I'm sorry, it's for you. I didn't know it would be like this, so that was also kind of, I mean, kind of set me up. I was like, shit, man, can we get like some nudity or some kills in this, please?
I
guess I
find
wasn't
that
as
so
bothered
much
by
less
the Jew
offensive than
jokes.
Jewish jokes.
I guess I just wasn't bothered by that as much. Because it's not like. I mean, I guess if he'd come out like, oh, I've been, coward or whatever. I guess I was like primed for, or my priming for like anti-Semitism is just through the roof right now because I just finished that fucking book Matt was talking about. So my expectations for what like qualifies is just like all the way up at the top thing of like, oh well, that's anti-Semitic as fuck now, and I'm like, he talks about being Jewish. I wonder if the actor is actually Jewish. That'd be an interesting one.
I would really hope so. I would really hope so.
Yeah, I will agree with that. I didn't really find the Jewish jokes to be like offensive as much as I was just perplexed by the film's focus on them, because they seem like the type of jokes that like someone who is Jewish might make. I mean, like we fucking rag on Alfie all the time for being British. It's like that same sort of thing almost. But like the fact that the movie, that's like one of the only sources of humor in this movie, it just leaves you with a very confused like, what? Like,
Yeah.
why?
You could get a reaction out of me with that.
Yeah, like it's just a little uncomfortable. Of like, okay, I guess you can't show me real blood, guts, and tits, but the Jew jokes, you got those on pat. All right.
But yeah, you just start thinking like are you trying to say something here? Like what is the axe that you have to grind?
It's
Like
truly not. It's truly not that big of a deal. I'm just glad because
No.
I when we were watching, I just thought, am I being too woke right now? Am I going fucking crazy? Like
Maybe I'm too woke. But like I don't know, they just didn't like, because they're not like offensive. It's not like, oh, he's a coward because he's a Jew. Get it?
Right.
Like he still goes for everything. Like he goes out trying to hunt the Grinch and he gets trapped and stuff, and he doesn't like run away or anything. He tries his best, but he's also like just I'm not the main character, you are kind of moment. So I don't know, like it didn't send up a red flag for me. And also end of the day, he gets the girl, he gets to be part of the happy ending and stuff. So it just didn't set off any alarm flags for me personally. Like, is it the greatest Jewish representation of all time? Probably not. But I'll throw this challenge at you. Can you name a better Jewish character in a horror film on the top of your head?
That's a fair point.
oh, man.
I can't.
I was just confused because I thought it was gonna get, because he kept mentioning it. I was like, all right, is the key to beating the Grinch gonna be like fucking Hanukkah or some shit?
That's
like,
what I was kind of thinking. I was like, how cool would that be?
It's like it's an alternative Christmas holiday that you don't have to. Like, I was just like, all right, well,
Like he comes down with a fucking menorah and he doesn't even know what to do with it. He's just like, what?
Do I hate this or do I not? Like,
that would have been interesting though if they had gone that route of like just having him, instead of him talking about being Jewish all the time, just having him talk about, oh no, I saw red, I decorate all the time for the holiday. And he's just like vague about it, and then
Grinch
like,
fuck
well,
my
why
name.
doesn't the Grinch come after him? And then you find out he's Jewish.
Dude, that's the Jewish joke they should have made. That's way funnier. Like there's one house that's like decked out for Hanukkah, and he's just like, huh? Like, oh god, that's so bad. That's so much better.
That would be really funny.
Oh god.
It's never a good sign for a movie when you can like write a better one in the course of a podcast, but
Right.
again, I guess I'm just being the one defending it because I'm the only one who liked it, so that's okay.
That's okay.
Well, everyone's got ones.
Everyone's gets one.
Everyone gets one. Everyone gets one.
Okay, Spider-Man from Family.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
Family Guy Spider-Man B's going right now. Like what?
That didn't start in the Spider-Man movie, though.
No, not in the Spider-Man movie. It's in the it's in Family Guy. Everybody gets
Everybody
one.
gets
no,
one.
But it's an older joke than that, I feel like. I feel like everyone gets one. It's just been a thing that people say for decades.
I mean,
Actually, they
maybe,
come out
but like
decades ago.
certainly, it's Spider-Man, Family Guy, like very popularized it, and that's the thing everyone's referencing when they say it.
Oh, that's fair.
So it's one of
For
the
the
like
sake
early Family Guy memes hit different.
for the sake of my own integrity, I want to be clear. I was referencing Spider-Man. Can't be shit talking the mean one and then referencing Spider-Man like a hypocrite.
It's okay.
Oh, okay. Anyway, I think we're about done with this movie. I don't think there's anything else to really talk about with it, unless you guys did any of you have like a kill that you actually enjoyed or liked?
The meat grinder.
Yeah, that was cool.
Simple but effective.
Okay. I don't know. I didn't quite care for the whole sequence of getting the guy into the gift box. That was like really conceited and everything, but the payoff for it is the end credit stinger did quite do something for me that got a laugh out of me. So I liked that idea. Sending someone a chopped up body as a gift was pretty fun. All right. Well, let's go ahead and go into ratings. I'll go first. So I'm sitting here talking about the praise and the greatness of this film that everyone else refuses to acknowledge. And I'm going to really just hammer down on that and say that this film gets 2 out of 5 caves that are surprisingly well designed for film. So you kind of know where I'm at with it. As much as I enjoyed it, I will really admit it's not a very good film, but I don't think it's very much trying to be. Maybe they didn't try hard enough to communicate that.
I'll give it 1 out of 5. Dreidels.
I'll give it 0.5 out of 5. David Howard on insane fucking resumes.
Dude, I know.
He's definitely got a stacked IMDb. It's true.
I was gonna
I'll give it. I'll give it a 0.5 out of 5. Drinks for Finch.
There we go.
Respectable. All right. Well, we'll be back next time for another holiday movie review. So have fun. See you then. Until then, I'm the philosopher.
No,
Aye.
I'm not gonna say it.
I am the champion of Christmas.
All right, I'm gonna test something out here, and you guys let me know if this is a good sign off. But I'm gonna go with I am the Luddite.
What the fuck's
I'm
the
fucking up.
Luddite?
Luddite was a movement in early industrial Europe against factories and technology, and it's been reclaimed lately for people who are against tech companies. There's a really good book about this called Blood in the Machine.
As he says on his
Never heard of this
internet podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, you participate in internet. How strange.
I'm curious.
I am very intelligent.
Your delivery on that was fantastic, man. That was a great.
Damn.
And we are your
thank
geeky
you.
gentlemen, and we will be discussing.
ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas!